everyone, and welcome to another episode of Reselling Rhythms. In today's live stream video, I'm going to discuss my guest's reselling business, and he'll share his thoughts about adding a retail location, such as an antique booth, to your selling platforms. He'll share his tips and strategies to help make us more profitable and successful resellers. Every Wednesday, I have a live stream. I usually interview another reseller and have them share their tips, tricks, and techniques to make us more knowledgeable and profitable resellers. If you're interested in reselling, then you are in the right place. I'm going to pop in the chat, guys, and say hello to a few people in the chat, and then we shall get started. I don't like to keep the people waiting for the replay. Say hello to Wendy. We have Sharon, my moderator. Thanks so much for being here, Sharon, and helping out. Beth Reseller Rowboat, Mike Flipping Goodies. Appreciate you all being here. Michelle, thank you for being here. And, of course, Randy, my moderator, was here. Guys, so like I said, I'm going to bring in my guest, and the vast majority of you know him, but for the people that don't know him, I'm going to ask him to tell us a little bit about himself. So let me bring him on, and we shall get this party started.
Here's Johnny.
There's Johnny. All right, Johnny, why don't you share a little bit with the chat and tell people a little bit about you, that few people that probably don't know you, but sure the vast majority already know you.
Yeah. First of all, I'm Johnny, known as Kajun Reseller, where I basically go thrifting, find things at low price, and resell them as high as I can resell them. I do eBay, Mercari, Etsy, Bonanza, and as well as in my antique booth. I'm originally born and raised in Louisiana, moved here to Massachusetts, and that's basically how I started my new journey with not only selling or reselling on eBay or any other platforms I can find, but also with YouTube. And I enjoy it. I enjoy helping others on their channels. And if you ever catch my morning show, you will see that I basically promote as many channels as we can. We try to reach everybody to their goals or their next milestone. We've had people make it to the 1,000. We've had them make it to 500. This morning, we've even had more milestones made into another 500. A couple of other channels that come on every morning. And I enjoy that. My motto is if I can help one person a day and make someone with a positive way for them to go on their lives, whether it's eBay, YouTube, or wherever the case may be, I've accomplished what I wanted to do for the day. And that's where I get my joy, and I enjoy it. And that's what I like doing.
Okay, like I said, most of the people already know you, and you and I were discussing pre-chat a little bit about your background, and you discussed how when you made different milestones, you had like people had to answer trivia type questions, and it comes up in your show. And again, we'll discuss your YouTube channel and your different shows that you do towards the end of the video. But guys, we're going to concentrate more like on the antique booth aspect of things, and going to have Johnny share his tips and techniques and strategies, basically about adding an antique booth to your portfolio. So just a couple quick, typical reseller questions. How did you get involved in reselling? Was it a family member? Was it a friend? How did you get involved in reselling?
Well, even though I think about it, when I was a kid, my mom we used to always go reselling, or we used to go flipping, because we were not really well off on my dad was working a lot. We were not really more in the poor type aspects of our lives, but my dad always made the money enough for us to live comfortably. And so we usually would go and find things for very cheap. We'd go to find the things that I call clearance. We always shopped on the clearance racks. And so for me, that brings it back to how far that used to be. But for me, actually doing what I'm doing now, I had been in business for myself now since 2005. And I've always had a business. I've always been on my own since then, working for myself instead of someone else. And then when Robert, my husband, y'all may know him in the chat as Robert Krennick, he had a job opportunity to be able to, because the job that he was working for at the time in New Orleans, they shut the business down. And so because of that, for him to keep that job that he's been with for so long, move here to Massachusetts so he can keep his job. Plus, it was better than what was happening in New Orleans with everything going on with the closing of the business. And so my first question was, what I'm going to do? I'm coming to a new place where I don't know anybody. I was working in a town where I knew almost everybody, and no matter where I would go, somebody would know me. And so he said, well, why don't you watch these type of videos that I watch? I was like, okay, and where? And he said, well, YouTube. I was like, huh? The first time I ever watched a YouTube channel was how to change the hose on a washing machine to stop it from clogging so it can work again. And so I did watch that. That was my first video I ever watched on YouTube. And then he shows me all these different ones doing reselling. He says, well, you always say you can sell ice to an Eskimo. I'm sure you can do this. So sure enough, started watching some channels, and then I started watching some while he would go to work, and while packing the house, we had to have it done by a certain date. And so I basically started purging the house, marking boxes, eBay office, eBay room, eBay sell. That way I know when I got here, I already knew my inventory was ready to go to start with, just from what we had around the house. And that's what I recommend to anybody who ever starts and thinks about starting eBay or any platform. Start with what you have around your house, something that you have never touched in 6 months. You forgot about it. You see it again. See what it's going for. Sell it. Try to get your money into it, because when I first started, everything I sell goes back into the business to buy more to resell again. And so that's how I basically got started.
Right. So you roll your profits from what you sold, basically free goods, so to speak.
Correct.
And I tell people, be very careful about credit cards and that type of thing. You don't want to get involved and have to pay interest and whatnot, because you can make payments on it, because that's going to really eat into your profits. So again, like you said, look around your house. I mean, I bought a pair of the shoes back in, I guess it was the early 80s. They were like loafers, and they're really funky looking. It's like, I'll never wear these shoes. But I mean, obviously they're 40 years old now, those shoes. And I'm sure somebody wants to wear them, like, for like a Halloween, party or something, and wear those loafers and say, vintage 1980s, for some kind of crazy outfit. But I mean, that's the kind of thing you look for, those type of things, for opportunities. So just gonna get into, like I said, you and I had discussed some of the platforms you sell on, and what particular online platforms are you right on now, Johnny? The ones that
the biggest one is eBay. Right now, I'm at 2,015 items total listing. My goal is to get to 4,000 by October 1st for Q4.
You would get the 4,000. Okay, so obviously you have some kind of inventory system. I'm assuming, because that would just drive me crazy. That would used to drive me nuts when I couldn't find something, and I would just have a few hundred items, listed, and I couldn't find something. And like half the times I would grab something when I was inventorying it, and I put it down, then I couldn't remember where I put it down, and that you would panic. One of the things that I tell people, again, this is kind of my kind of pro tip, is if you can't find something, obviously contact the buyer. And then what I do is I message them through the eBay system, because you're not supposed to go outside the system. Correct. And I'll say, I unfortunately I've sold out of that particular item. Would you like me to cancel the sale, or would you like to buy something else on my store? I will give you a 20% off discount coupon, so you can purchase something else. So in a way, roundabout way, you're asking them if they would like to cancel the sale, and that's kind of a requirement with eBay. You just can't cancel the sale because you're out of inventory, because then you'll get a ding. But if the buyer requests that you cancel the sale, then that's kind of the workaround, and that's one of the things I tell people, especially newer sellers. That's kind of a tip that I use. I mean, and it's worked a couple times. I recommend,
if you're just starting out, the best way to keep your inventory in line, so to say, is start with organizing it the minute you start. For me, I see some people use like the bins with a number and a letter. In the item, they'll have it in a suffocation bag, and they'll put a number on that item as well. Right. Whereas for me, mine is all in categories. Like if it's all electronics, it's in electronics. If it's all toys or action figures, everything is organized by category. And for me, I find that works best for me. So it may work for me, but it may not work for someone else. So my suggestion is always to try to start something that you would work out for yourself. And there's all kind of people that do their organizations differently, but you may just find something that will click in your mind saying, I can do it that way. And if you start at the beginning, you will never have that problem going on without finding something. Knock on wood. I've never had that yet.
You're very fortunate. Very, very fortunate. It's funny. You were talking about in your show when you were up the lake house, you're talking about IKEA. When I first got involved in reselling, that's what I did. I went to IKEA and I bought the big loose light bins with the lids, and then they had wheels on them, and I stacked them on top of each other. Like you said, I labeled them, like A1, A2, A3, or B1, B2, B3. And then I would take I use the Walmart. I don't use the suffocation bags, but technically I probably should. But I use these twisty tie bread bags, and then I write on them on Sharpie, B1, and then on my custom SKU on eBay, I'll write what this custom SKU is. So if it's a Tommy Hilfiger women's pair of jeans, I'll put in it, it's B-22, and then what I usually do is I put the purchase price that I paid and the original selling price, and typically I'll put like the date that I listed it.
Right.
So I mean that kind of keeps me, kind of on track, so to speak. And then you can always obviously adjust the price and run sales and whatnot. So I do want to get into that a little bit about how you run, since you're so mainly on eBay. I was just curious how you run your store.
Well, like going back to the SKU number you were talking about,
right? Mm-hmm.
I use the SKU number as, like, for example, I do a lot of retail arbitrage, garage sales, estate sales, and also thrifting. Now, if I find something on clearance, I will put RA, like say it's Walmart, WM, and the price I got it for.
Okay.
If it's at a garage sale, I'll put GA sale, the item, how much I paid for it. Now, if I buy a lot of whatever, say for $30, and I got 50 pieces, well, I'm going to take that 50 pieces divided by 30, and that is what I get, that I paid per piece.
They do average cost.
It's a lot, or a bundle deal. So that's how I get a lot of my prices so low. Right. But I use that in the SKU part, so where I know if somebody sends me an offer. Now, I have bought some things as high as $15, $20.
Okay.
But I am selling them for more than $60 or more. So I still write it in the SKU, because in case if I'm running a sale or someone sends me an offer, I will go and look at my item and see what's in that SKU box of how much I paid for that item before I send an offer. Right. Especially if somebody lowballs me and say, I want to give you $5 or $10 and I paid $20 for it. Well, that's automatically declined. I'm not even going to entertain that. And so everybody does it a little different. For me, if I buy something for $1, as long as I'm making $2 on it, my dollar back and $1 plus the fees and all that other things you have to take out of it, then I'm good. So that is usually my goal, is to at least make double my money, including the fees and shipping. Because I think maybe one or twice at the beginning, I really messed up and did a lot of free shipping, thinking, okay, I'll put it in the price. Well, I ate a lot of that, and guess what? It never happened again. You learn from your mistakes.
Well, absolutely. And the other thing is now, too, with first class postage, it's based on distance as well. So it's weight plus distance. Right. So, and again, typically, I'm on the East Coast near Philadelphia. So typically, most of my goods go out to Texas or go out to California. So, obviously, I'm shipping it across country. So you're paying more money for that. Yeah. One thing I did put, and I know eBay has their managed payment system, but for those of you that use PayPal, I put that on one of my news shows, that PayPal is raising their fees. It's like 0.5%. I think they're going from like 30 cents up to like 49 cents or 50 cents or whatever. So, but again, it's additional fees. And I talk about with free shipping, there's no such thing as free shipping. Like you said, you're really building into the cost of your goods. But then again, keep in mind that I just use 15% as a round number. I say, okay, well, if it costs me $10, I'm paying $1.50 additional in fees on the shipping as well. So, do you get involved with selling offers to watchers?
I do that every day, 3 times a day. Now,
3 times a day. Okay. What's your philosophy with
when
that?
I first wake up in the morning, depending on what the items are and when did I list it, I usually know if I listed something last week, I'm not sending an offer yet. That's too soon. But usually 9 times out of 10, the first thing I do in the morning when I'm drinking my coffee, and then that's one of the things I start, I check my emails. I go straight to eBay. Do I have any watchers? And if I have watchers, I will go and see what they watch, the items they're watching. Depending on how long I've had it listed for, will determine how big of a discount I'll send them. 9 times out of 10, my very first offer in the morning is usually maybe 8 to 12%. Okay. As an offer off. And then again, depending on how long I've had it listed. Now, if it's something that I've had listed for a while and I've had it, I'm ready to just get rid of it, then I'll start at 20, 25%, depending on the item and on how much. But I do it 3 times a day, once in the morning, once at around after lunch, and then one at night when I go to close everything down for the night.
And again, you've had it when you send out offers or somebody makes you an offer, and I tell people always respond to offers. I made the rookie mistake back in the day. It's like, well, if somebody's going to lowball offer, I'm not going to get involved in it. Like, granted, you have a lot more listings than I have, but so if I had, 1,000 listings or 800 listings, I respond to every offer, but I don't auto decline anything anymore. I always respond back and forth.
Right. Individual, but one of the things I do not do is when I do send an offer, I make sure that box that says you can have them let you make another offer back.
Right.
I don't check that off.
Okay.
Because that way, if they want it, they're going to either accept it or send me another offer. But I don't automatically let them do it.
Okay. Well, like I tell people, is eBay likes that, and Cassini, the algorithm likes that. That back and forth.
Correspondence is very important. Yes.
Right. So I tell people, I mean, as we all learn from our experiences, and that's kind of like a rookie mistake I made, that I used to auto decline a lot of offers. And it's like, well, don't do that, because eBay likes you to go back and forth. Right. And again, you can always, if somebody's lowballing you, you can always say, if they offer you $2 on a $20 item, I mean, and you offer them, say 15, and they come back at like $3, you can go up to 16 or 17.
Exactly. Now, I've done it before where if somebody sent me an offer, for example, last week, that's another thing I'm not scared of, it depending on the offer. Now, sometimes I will send somebody an offer and I'll do like 20% off the actual, like even though they're giving me a lowball, I'll go to my regular price and say, how much would it be if I give them 20% off?
Right.
So if I do that and they come back with another price, I'll just keep coming up again closer to that item. And 9 times out of 10, while I'm doing that, it's already sold to someone else who's been watching it.
Exactly.
And that's happened many a times, and I love it because
it kind of triggers that algorithm, and for some reason they promote it and you get the full price offer.
Yeah, because I sent somebody an offer the other day for 20% off, and somebody else came right behind it and bought it for full price. And I love it when that happens. I'll go do that every day.
Happens all the time.
Yeah.
So, and then what about running sales? What's your philosophy on running sales? Do you pull sales? Do you run sales?
I do run sales, but I used to run them on a regular basis, and I would usually do them between Thursday and Sunday.
Okay.
Or Monday and Wednesday. But I find that has not had any major impact on my sales. But what I have found is that I do more by sending offers. Now, just recently, I did do I was trying this out for the new thing they have of the coupons.
Right.
Where you can either print a coupon and send it to them in the package, or you can run a coupon with a code. And I did it for 2.5 weeks, the week right before the 4th of July, through the week of the 4th of July, and just into this past Sunday. I've had many of our orders come through, and only 3 used the discount code at checkout.
Okay.
And I had it posted on the top of my eBay store. When you go in it and you go to look at any item, it said, use this coupon code at checkout to receive 20% off. I only had 3 people use it. So you just never know if they will or not.
Well, that's the thing too. It generates, views, and then like I said, eBay likes that back and forth, and people watches and whatnot. And then if it generates, additional views, and then if people don't use it, but again, like around the holidays, everybody, and that's the old $64,000 question.
Yeah.
Do you mark things up and then mark them down? I mean, technically, you're not supposed to do it, but a lot of people did that back in the day when I was following the OG channels. They used to say, okay, well, if you're going to run a 25% off sale, mark things up 25% and then drop them down 25%, which, that's kind of iffy, but,
now I have did it when I first started, because you're new in the system. You're trying to figure out things that works.
Right.
And I have done it at the beginning, but I guarantee you it messed me up big time, because I had to go through all my stuff and readjust the prices, because then all of a sudden you go to readjust it and it's not happening correctly like you should.
Right.
And you enlisted at what you wanted for, or at least you want to at least start a little high, because you can always come down.
Sure.
But for me at the beginning, I'm trying to be like everybody else, and I'm doing the wrong things here because it's not working. So you have to not try to fix something that ain't broken. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, and what about running promotions? Do you do promoted sales?
I do promoted sales. That's another thing. I've watched and I look at all my sales during the week. I can have approximately 10 sales a week, and it's just a sample.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll have at least 3 or 4 that was actually on promoted sales for ad fees.
Right.
Not many, but again, I'm still having some. So yes, I still run a actual promoted sale listing on all across the board at 2%.
Okay, so you use the 2%. Okay.
Right now, I've been doing 2%, and I still see people using it. I see some people that don't even use it. So for me to say I'm never going to use it again or change it, right now I'm leaving it at 2. At the beginning, I did try 4. Nothing was happening. So I said, let me come down to 3. Nothing was happening. So I said, let me stay with 2 and see what happens. And so far, 2 seems to be the magic number for me. Why, I don't know, but I'm keeping it at 2 for right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's the philosophy. Some people will say, I put market rates, if it says 7.9%, it's like, well, no, I'm already paying like 15%. I'm not going to pay an additional 8%.
No.
I pay 23% on an item. And again, you're paying,
right.
You're not paying that technically on the shipping.
Right.
But, it gets crazy. So,
yep. And you got to know where the limit is that you want to try something. And again, it's only something that you can try. If it's not working, change it. But I just don't keep it at anything higher than that right now, because I'm already paying my fees, even though I'm getting my discounts because I am top rated plus. But still, I'm not giving them more than I need to.
So you offer free returns or top rated plus?
Yes.
What's your experience been with your returns?
I've had 2 returns in 2 years.
2 returns in 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, knock on wood. Count your blessings, right?
I just looked at my numbers this morning, and within the last year, I had 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, do you you've only had 2 returns, so that's you sell clothing now, right? You do sell some clothing.
I do some clothing, but most of my clothing is new with tags.
Okay.
I really don't fool with a lot of used clothing. When I first started, I was trying to do a little bit of everything, but trying to see what works. And I find for me, I have sold some clothing. Some things has been sitting there for a while, but I do tend to stay with something. Like, for example, I went to this one citywide garage sale last year.
Okay.
And I have maybe 2 shirts left of this one that I bought from an old doctor's office that they turned into a house. And each room was packed with stuff. And there was a whole bunch of old JCPenney and Sears Roebuck's dress shirts.
Oh, really?
Still in original packs.
Okay.
With no UPC codes.
Okay.
And I have, I think, 2 shirts of that whole bundle left.
Really?
But they're selling because of the fact it's still sealed. And I just basically do the back of the shirt on the package. And it shows you like the size and what's the measurements.
Right.
That's it. I'm done.
Right. Well, again, and I hear stories of other resellers, and I tell people that watch my show that I try to, monitor other, reselling shows and monitor the reselling chats and different things. But that's the thing too. I heard people talking about like underwear. People like a particular kind of underwear, and we all know quality of things as going down typically. Mm-hmm. So, if you're wearing a particular brand of underwear, it's like stuff that was like 10, 15 years ago is better quality than what they're putting out, these days.
I'm going to share a secret with you. You know what's really selling when it comes to underwear? The old original Fruit of the Looms 8 to 11 count pack. Okay. If you can find them still sealed, mm-hmm. You're looking at about $60 to $80 that I had sold them for before.
Wow.
And I only paid $1.50 for them.
So you picked them up at like thrift stores or picked them at yard sales or?
Mm-hmm. Brand new, still sealed. Fruit of the Looms, for some reason, they sell like hotcakes. But again, they got to be sealed. It
has to be sealed, right? New old goods, so to speak.
Exactly, old new stock. Yep,
old new stock, right? Yeah. So, okay, now you say you do some RA and do some OA as well. I'm assuming.
I do a lot of RA. When I go to some places that have clearance, I call them clearance, but it's clearance. Because I do shop
Clarence. I think of Bruce Springsteen. We were saying Clarence. But.
Yeah. And so if I can find something that I know, and Robert's doing the same thing, we go there. Our phones are open. If he can't use his phone, I'll use my phone. Vice versa. We even go to Ollies, a discount outlet store, and I've been finding a lot of old models that are brand new in the box.
Yes.
If you scan them, make sure you scan them before you buy them because some aren't selling as well. But I do find that as long as you're scanning them, I do not, and I repeat, do not look at what they're listed for because that's just what somebody's asking for it.
Look at
what's sold.
Yeah.
And you have to weigh the odds. Is there like more than 5 listed? And is there more than 5 sold? You got to weigh both sold and listed. And so for me, if I see something that's sold and I can make double my money without having it biting into my profit from the fees, then I'll get it. But if I'm looking at actually just at half price and then that's all I'm making is double my money, it ain't worth it. Because then that's too much of the other work you got to do to it that's taken out of your profit.
When I first got involved in reselling, and I was looking to do Amazon, I was trying to do a lot of RA, and it just got frustrating. I'm traveling, like you said, Ollies and Walmart clearance, and I travel 3 miles of this Walmart, another 5 miles of this Walmart, another 5 miles. So and back then gasoline was only like $2 a gallon. So now with it $3 plus a gallon, right? And using an SUV, it's like I'm lucky to get 15 miles of the gallon. Mm-hmm. So it's like it's I'm
gonna give you a tip about that. I don't do it in a daily plan. If I have to go, because I do usually go to the grocery store or Walmart once a week. Okay. I get my list of what I need. Because I'm already there doing what I need. Right. I'm going to clearance. I want to see what they got cleared or marked down.
You're going to clearance.
I don't make a special trip. Like if I'm going from here to my antique booth.
Gotcha.
There's 2 Walmarts on the way. I'll stop on the way or coming back. Because I'm not going to go out of my way because it's already there. If I need to go there to get something anyway, I'm going to stop for that as well.
Right.
Yeah. It's more planning your day and your trip.
And I'm assuming you downloaded the app to your phone as well?
Yes.
The Walmart app. Well, that was the problem I used to have when I used to go to Walmart, and I didn't find a lot of things for sale, in my area as far as good clearance prices. But then I'd be looking for like the scanners, and 9 times out of 10 I couldn't find them; they were broken. So it's like,
But the biggest tip about the Walmart app, no matter what Walmart you go to, that Walmart, you have to be logged in that Wi-Fi for that.
Log into their Wi-Fi because clearance prices can vary from store to store.
Correct. And so you definitely need to make sure if you're using the Walmart app and you open it, make sure your Wi-Fi is on, because you can have it automatically connect to that Wi-Fi. So that way you're actually in that store, because a lot of times you will go and scan something and it may say $10 on the sticker, but you go to scan it in the Walmart app. Sometimes it's even as low as $3 to $4 because they just never updated it in the store.
Right.
And that's what they call that hidden clearance.
Yeah, I know Mike Flipping Goodies in the chat, and some people know kind of like certain items in the store sell very well, even at full price. You can buy them and then resell them and make your profit that way.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Or you just go to your neighborhood, or if you know somebody who's a YouTube reseller and they're having a garage sale, go check out their garage sale, because you never know what you're going to find. Hint.
Yeah, we're discussing I'm sorry.
I said we just happened to do that this weekend.
Okay.
This past weekend, we went to someone who is a reseller, which the video will be coming out soon, that they were having a yard sale, garage sale, and we wound up racking up on a lot of stuff that was $1 a piece. Okay.
I actually went to a yard sale, and I missed the yard sale treasure app. I mean it's out there, but it's not really.
It's not fully updating, right?
Not fully updating properly because of the Craigslist. And I saw somebody was running a sale, and I found out he had a retail business, a shoe business. So I walked in his garage, and I'm looking, oh, wow, look at this. I'm making make some money here. And I start talking to the guy, and I'm kind of feeling him out. And they're like, what do you want for those, Adidas? $30. $30. You want $30 for that? Yeah. I said, I'm a reseller. I do it part-time. I said, that's like eBay prices. He wouldn't admit to it. He goes, well, you going to buy them all? I said, well, how much you going to give it to me if I buy them all? You're at $30. I mean, I'm not even going to make a counter offer. I mean, even if I'm going to offer you $10. I said, I got to pay, people want free shipping. So you got to pay for shipping. And then I got to pay fees. I said, there's no meat in the bone here. I said, and then I started talking to the guy about, local businesses and different things. He goes, oh yeah, well, I'm moving to Florida. He goes, my house sold in 3 days, yada, yada, yada. I said, well, that's nice. I said, well, I guess you gotta take some of the stuff down with you, because I'm not paying you $30 for a pair of shoes.
Exactly.
So you've had pretty good experience up in Nass with the yard sales and the
when I do go, I'm very picky, even though, and one of the things I want to say too, I know a lot of videos that come out, and I'm not saying any particular channel because I do watch a lot of different channels. Mm-hmm. When they're in Walmart, and you got to remember their location. You may find things in someone else's Walmart that may be even cheaper than yours. And so when you go to search for it at your Walmart, it may not be the same. It's not nationwide, so you got to be careful with that. So what I always do is when I go to any retailer that I'm doing retail arbitrage with and it's clearance, I always open my app and scan to see what they're selling for. Not what they're listed for, but what they sold for. And a lot of times I don't pick up a lot of stuff because it's just not worth it. And I've watched some YouTubers that do reselling that they'll go in and get these different sales in different places, but we don't find them here, or we don't find them in another town. So again, just remember that every town is going to be different. Every Walmart's going to be different.
Right.
So just do the best you can when you're doing that, because then again, how much you're able to spend, but watching how much you make back, plus your fees and your shipping.
Well, like I said, you watch other channels or you talk to other resellers, and it's like, well, I found this, that, and the other in the wild. It's like, I've never seen that in the last 4 years ever in the wild.
Exactly.
But I mean, if they're like in the Pacific Northwest, they're finding Nike and Lululemon and those type of things. I never find them. And I find like Penny brands and Sears brands and, all those brands,
right.
I'm not finding the high-end athletic wear, and the, that type of stuff. But
and it does happen. You can even find more of that kind of stuff at an estate sale. And one of the things I have come to be able to enjoy here is I've already had 2 connections with different estate sale companies here. And that's one of the things you want to do is if you get to start going to some of those estate sales, they know me by name. And when I go in there, they're like, okay, what you want to do today? And I don't have no problem doing a pal and making offers and.
So you put together a bundle and your
Oh, yeah.
relationship, and I talked about that all the time in this channel,
Yeah.
building relationships and networking. And Mike Flippin Goody this in the chat. I mean, he's great at that too. And Mike and I has been on my show a few times, and Mike and I were discussing things. And he says, because a lot of times he goes, my particular estate sale people don't list things for sale to like Thursday or Friday. I said, why is that? He goes, because they contacted me prior and they let me come through, and he gets to cherry pick and he'll pull bundle stuff together and says, what's the mic price for this?
Yeah.
Again, guys, you got to talk to people. You got to network. I mean, you're selling goods or you're selling yourself. I mean, that's just the way life is.
I bring several IKEA bags, and 9 times out of 10, I'm usually filling them up.
There you go. Why don't we get a little bit in? Again, I have some other things I want to discuss with you, but I would like to get into the meat and the potatoes about the antique booth. Like I told you prior that, how do we decide whether we want to add an antique booth, a bin or a booth or whatever to our portfolio or retail location? How do we decide that?
Well, first of all, what you want to do is if you're going to estate sales, garage sales, anywhere where you're finding a lot of large bulk item things that you can flip for more money, but you don't want to waste it on Facebook Marketplace or in your eBay store or any platforms, and you're afraid to do the big shipping products, I would recommend looking into an antique booth or an antique mall and see if there's anything available. When you go to antique booths, I basically have a list that I have to go by, and that's everywhere you go. They're going to give you a list of do's and don'ts, what you can and can't have. How does the sales work? You want to make sure you check out the square footage. Everywhere I've gone to so far, I've been in, myself and Robert have both had booths in Louisiana with a friend of ours. And again, you still pay for the square footage. You'll pay for whatever space you have. There's even things that they'll have these glass cases that you just pay for the case with the lock and key. There's some that just have bookcases. Some have 5x10s, 10x5, whatever the case may be. A lot of them also have a locked in, but more of a 3 to 4 wall room, the doorway to walk in. Those where I'm at, they charge by your rental. They charge you a percentage on your sales.
Okay.
Some places will charge you for the credit card fees, like for whatever the percentage of, if you have a sales from credit cards.
Sure.
Some will also make sure that you're not only paying for the square footage, but you're also paying for your sales, a percentage of your sales. Or they will even have it where you will have to work there a certain amount of time towards your rent, and they have that as well.
So you have to like run the register, so to speak, and then
that'll walk the floors and help people
that help customers. Okay, that's part of your rental agreement.
Correct. So one of the things is whenever you do go, a lot of them will tell you how to mark things. Like in this case, my place where I'm at, they basically give you a sample that says this is how they want their tags. You got your invoice number. They give you a booth number, the price. If you want a firm, you have to write an F and circle, and the description. You have to have the tags just like they want it, or some places will offer you to buy from them their own tags ready for you just to write on with the lines on it. So the biggest thing is check your information from each of the different places. You may have multiple antique malls. Like in this particular place where I'm at, I cannot sell clothes. I cannot sell appliances. And there's a third thing that is electronics or appliances. Any clothing, electronics, or appliances. They have to get it approved by the manager or the owner. So each place you do have to find out what is their rules and regulations, and they'll usually have it written down for you. Some places will only allow you a certain time slot or a certain day and time slot to go upgrade your booth, freshen your booth up, dust your booth out, bring new stuff in, take stuff out, whatever. I'm blessed because where I'm at, I can go any time of the day, evening, morning, or afternoon before they close. There is no set time for where I go. So what I did was before I took a booth here, I would suggest going to a location if it's close to you.
Right.
Check out how far they are from you. Is it worth it for you to go back and forth? What are their hours? I used to go when I first started going to this place when we moved here. I would go different times of the day of the week. I would never go the same time, the same day every week. I would change it to see what their customer flow was. And so it never mattered for me when I went because it was always busy. So then I knew about foot traffic was good. I started with a very small, the smallest booth I can was a V-shaped booth, a bookshelf. And that's what I started with.
Okay.
I started very low so I can get my feet wet, get in there. They saw that I would go there every week, freshen it up, clean it up, dust it up, move things around, bring new stuff in. And then after that, I was able to get a second booth because that's what was available. You know, you have to go with what they have.
Right.
So I had 2 small booths. Now, I had one on both sides of the building. So that kind of helped me with foot traffic on both sides.
Traffic flow, right? Yeah.
One thing I had with hard goods, the other one I had glassware or things like that. So after my first year and a half, again, going every week, updating the booth, dusting it, moving things around, because kind of find out there are people who will go there every week. And if they see something in a certain area that's been there every time they go, they're just going to keep on going. They're not going to stop because everything is the same of what you keep it. So the idea is to move it around.
Just move it around, make it look like it's fresh and new goods.
You know, they do it in the stores at end caps. So why not do it in your booth? Right. So that's one of the things I always suggest. And I do that every week. And if I can't do it every week, it's definitely every 2 weeks. And I always bring some new stuff, dust things off, check and see what's selling. Because if something's selling, like for me right now, jewelry is selling more than anything. So then I bring some more jewelry and I bring some other things to see what else is going to work. And so you want to be checking out your area and seeing what works, what's going on and things like that, because an antique booth can bring you some money. I bought, for example, a sewing machine. I paid $50 for it.
So you paid up for it?
Oh, yeah, because that was worth it. I knew what I had. Mm-hmm. It was a Singer sewing machine from 1945 in a wooden case. I sold it for $295 in the antique booth. Okay. Because I had it there, kept it clean, kept it dusted, made sure they can use it. I had the thread, the little things for material, for the fabric, for the
bobbers, right?
And you have to do that kind of thing. Make sure it works before you put it in. And it's amazing. Even an old traveling American liner's makeup bag,
American Tourister.
Yeah, I paid $5 for it, and it sold for $85 in my booth because it's a bigger piece. I didn't want to deal with it being online to ship it, and I'm just now signed up recently for Facebook Marketplace, but I haven't listed anything there because I'm doing well at my antique booth by bringing bigger things there, and that's what's good about having an antique booth because that way, if you're seeing and you're out there at a garage sale, estate sale, or wherever, and you see these biggie bulk item things, and you can say, "Oh, I can put it in my booth." Especially if you got a good price on it, and you know you can flip it for more. That's the perfect place to bring it and have it. So just check out your places, see what they're offering, what they have available, their cost, what is included, what do you have to do, what you have to pay. Some places even have to charge. They even charge you for electricity. Wow. So and insurance, you have to have insurance. Whereas in my place where I'm at, everything's covered. I just pay my rent. Now, my sales, whatever my sales are over my rent, I get that check every month. If not, if it doesn't make it and you have a difference, you just pay the difference from your rent. But the object is to get it as much as you can, keep you both full. That way you will never have to worry about paying those rents every month. And you get a check every month.
So when you were deciding like where you wanted to put your booth, so to speak, were you traveling, you said, different times a day and shopping in different booths to see what the hours were and how far they were?
Yeah, because when we first got here, Robert was going because he was here before me while I was packing the house in Louisiana. Okay. And when his time off, he would go check out some of the antique booths. So he would bring me when I first got here and we moved in. He would bring me to these places. And I had my name on a booth list. Every time we go, I check, what's the status? Right. We need your name again. We don't have it no more. Oh, really? So I would do it again. And so with that kind of place, it got to the point where every time we would go there, there would be empty spaces, but they had a waiting list. Gotcha. So I just stopped going there and stopped worrying about getting a booth there. I went to this place. Rob and I would go there. And then while he's at work, I would go check it out, go to see what they have, see if they had any open booths. And they finally had one open. I put my name down. I got it right then and there. But then again, the more you go in there, the more they see you, the more they're going to know that you are interested in keeping up your booth. And so they get to know you. And if you want something bigger and you're already in there, you can always put your name down at the office or the desk, and they will contact you first before anybody from the outside. Gotcha. As long as you're in that building already, they will let you have it first.
And the other thing you do, I guess you can talk to the other resellers, right? And see what's selling for them, and what success you have when you foot traffic.
Right. Now, booth too, you can run your own sales. They don't control that. Okay. Where I'm at. You can run a sale as long as you want, as often as you want, as long as you have a sign up and you let them know at the front desk, I'm running a sale from this Friday to next Friday, the dates, and they'll have it on their little clipboard at the front. That way, if something happens, they say, oh, that sale was, they can look on the list and say it's no longer there. It's this date to this date, and you're covered. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, we had discussed a couple things earlier, and you were talking about some of your flips and different things. And I typically ask everyone this because that's kind of like people like, to throw the hind and the treasure hunt. And what was your biggest flip, your best flip, and percentage-wise and dollar-wise?
My purchase was $0.
Okay.
Sold it for $287.
Okay.
It was one of those Dermoblend face cleansers.
Okay.
The whole kit of 11 pieces, still sealed in its original pack.
And your cost was $0.
And the cost was $0.
Why was your cost of $0?
Because I got it for free.
Okay, you're going to reveal your source. Okay.
It was a free product.
Okay.
That was one of my first things I listed actually on my first month or so on eBay. And that was one of the items I listed, and it sold quickly.
That's tremendous.
Yeah, and it was a Dermablend from the big old pack that had 11. And I looked up the prices, like they had some that were 5-piece, 7-piece, 9-piece, 12-piece.
Right.
This one I just looked it up, and I didn't find any with that many pieces in it. I listed it as high as I could, and only one sold previous before that, so I went with that price. And next thing you know, it sold within a few days of me listing it. And so I'm not afraid to look at something that's sold. And if it's only one that's sold, I'm going to go high. Only thing I can do is come down on it.
Well, it's the old saying, you don't know what you can get unless you ask for it. If you don't ask for it, you won't get it.
Exactly.
So you can always come down.
Again, it was sealed. So that was one of the reasons why I automatically listed it. Because I'm a type of person, if something's not sealed, and that's one of my biggest pet peeves. Very few things you will find that it's not sealed that I buy.
Okay.
If it is, it's got to be a really good markup on value for me to resell it. And it's got to be in great condition because I will not just put anything on my online platforms.
Okay. Like you mentioned on your show before, Fenton Glass.
Uh-huh.
Now, is that something you collect for your personal collection, or is that something you resell as well?
I've been collecting it for quite a long time. If you go back and watch my video that says hashtag soy pod, show off your death pile.
Okay.
I have in that video all my collection. I've been collecting for many years, but everything from the Carnival Mardi Gras glass to Fenton signed pieces, everything from different colors. The Mardi Gras glass one I usually pick up is the dark purplish gold tone with the purple coloring, light greenish color with the grape prints on them. Those are my biggest collection that I have when it comes to Carnival glass. Now the Fenton, I have everything from anything you can think of. I have some right in this room right here that I'm going to put in my antique booth. One of the things I'm going to do too is I've been working on, my goal is before I turn 60, which is in 5 more years, my goal is to be a minimalist. In other words, all the stuff I've been collecting, I've enjoyed it. Now it's time to let others enjoy it. So I've been slowly adding this kind of stuff into my antique booth, but letting others enjoy it. Hopefully by the time I get it all in there for the bigger pieces I have, the price will start going back up. Because right now, the price for Fenton has dropped.
Oh, has it? Okay.
But it will come back up, just like anything else. It will go up again. But again, my collection, again, you can see most of that in that one video called hashtag SorryPod.
Well, I hear about people like collecting like vintage clothing or vintage jewelry, and then, like you said, they'll kind of rent it. They'll use it, or they'll put it, in their home or whatever, and they'll appreciate it. And after a while, say, okay, time to move this, sell this, and bring something else in.
Exactly. So. Well, for a while, I was even collecting, doing a lot of different old time sewing machines with the foot pedals and the Kenmores and the Sears and this, that, and the other. Sure. And so now it's just gonna be time for me. I still use my featherweight for sewing on quilts. It's just sometimes you just have to say, okay, when is it time to get rid of it? When is it time to let somebody else enjoy it? And so that's where I'm at in my mind now. It's getting to that point where, okay, let me just start letting others enjoy it by getting rid of it a little bit at a time. Because again, I didn't get it all at one time, so it's time to get rid of it a little bit at a time.
Right.
Yeah.
You and I had talked prior when we did some pre-show with chat and whatever. We talked a little bit about Google Lens. Why don't you share a little bit about Google Lens and help the other resellers and talk to them a little bit about Google Lens? For me,
with Google Lens, the best thing to do is everybody has it if you have Google on your phone. Google Lens is great when it comes to you can't find something and it's on my other phone. I use Google Lens, for example. I had gotten this bag of jewelry box or jewelry jar. And in it, I got this thing that I did not know what it was. I've never seen it before. And so I did Google Lens, and it gave me one thing. So I took that same picture and I put it on Facebook on groups. And then the next thing you know, I'm getting all these different comments saying this is what it is.
Okay.
It was actually a clip that had a chain on it, and then had the design flower stones in the center, but it was gold tone. And when you clip it, it had a circular motion in the center. You use it for scarves or handkerchiefs.
Okay.
It would take and button it into the inside of your blouse or a woman's blouse or a man's dress shirt, and it would hold your handkerchief in place. Just recently, I just found another one in a box that it came in for $1.
For $1.
For that same one I found in a jewelry jar. But this one had a box. So
what'd you sell for the one in the jewelry jar?
I haven't sold it yet. I haven't sold it yet.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm waiting to figure out where I want to put it at because I don't want to just give it because I have not found any yet that are sold.
Okay.
So I'm kind of waiting to price it. It's in I have a shelf under my desk that I keep in different drawers of things that are either I got for free,
right?
Things that I know I want to, there's no markings, but I know it's worth something waiting to list. And then things I'm just having to look up. So it's in my waiting to list right now.
Now, again, we mentioned the Google Lens. Are there any other kind of websites or apps that you use in your reselling business that might be helpful to other resellers?
I basically will do Google search, but Google Lens for me has worked so far.
Okay.
Basically, you just go to your app on your phone, and you can pull up on your apps. You're gonna have a Google Lens. It basically is just a little Google with the dots, and it's gonna be just like a little camera.
Right.
And when you face it to whatever you want to show, once it gets into the frame, it'll automatically take a picture for you. Now, if for some reason, when you're using the app and it doesn't do it right away, do it in a different angle. Angle it in a different spot. This little dot in the center is going to turn blue. If you see the little dot moving.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Well, it was right there.
It was, yeah. Okay.
This little dot right here is going to turn blue right in the center.
Right.
That lets you know that is going to be a good picture. You want to keep doing it until it actually turns into a circle that's blue. I have used it different times, different ways, and I find that every time, maybe once, it didn't come up, so I had to go and Google it. Or Robert, can you help me find this? Where should I look? I've had even China. That there's websites you can go online and it's just a missing piece of say something you're looking for. There's different websites. I just basically use Google. I'll go into Google search. I'll type in things I'm looking for, and then all of a sudden the website will come up, use this for whatever. So that's definitely one of the things I do. If I can't find it on Google Lens, I'm just going to start Google searching it until I find whatever it is I'm looking for.
Well, that's a good tip. I mean, that's a pro tip. I usually put that up there. So,
well, a lot of people don't. For me, that's what works for me because I don't.
Right.
Robert's the computer tech that I go to for a lot of questions.
Okay.
When he's not home, I'm Google searching something, or I'll do a search on say a particular item that I think I know what it might be, until I find it and change the different words or keywords of what I'm looking for, and I find it just by doing the keywords first. And then adding the extras at the end, usually 9 times out of 10, I'll find it that way.
Well, that's the other thing, too. Sometimes less is more when you're doing a search. I had a friend of mine says, I was looking for something on eBay or something. He goes, well, sometimes less is more. He goes, don't put the exact item in there because if you put too much information, then the algorithm is confused. The search engine is confused by that.
I've learned it the hard way. Yeah, you're right about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just a couple personal things. I know you have fur babies.
I did, yes.
You don't have any right now at all?
We have one.
You have one.
We had one that passed away last month.
Right.
Actually, the 20th. Yeah.
You were away and you lost one of your pets. I knew that.
Yeah. Well, actually, we lost one in the beginning of June.
Right.
And then we lost the second one on the Father's Day on the 20th. The weekend before, so it was that Friday, the 17th. He would have made 17 years old that Sunday, the Father's Day. Yeah. Old age. He was 17 years old. They just died of old age. And so we did get him cremated. The only one we do have left. And I show the picture every time I turn my phone on. Is Myrtle.
Myrtle. Okay.
She's the baby of the family now.
Okay. Okay.
And I did a video of them before all that happened. That's both of them. I did do a video on them.
Okay.
That was when we first got her, actually.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, and that's Latte. He was a Cairn Terrier.
Wow.
But yeah, they died of old age. But you know, I always told Robert after that happened, I said, I want to come back as one of them. And I did have 2 videos of them, and I always clip videos around the house of them. I do miss it because a lot of times I'd bring them out every morning, walk them through the day. We would have conversations of like he would have the one of them had to always have that last word. And so you get to learn them. They become a child. They are like a child, you know, you have to raise them, and sometimes you rescue them, but I think they rescue us, you know? But yeah. All of them were rescues from.
That was my next question. From shelters and different things. Yeah. Okay.
Latte.
Have you fostered animals before?
Sorry, what?
Have you fostered pets before?
No.
Okay.
I've always had. Well, I did foster one, and then next, you know, she became mine.
Okay. Well, that's the problem when you foster, right?
Yeah. It was a Chinese cat.
Okay.
And then for Latte, I got him from the SPCA, this was before I met Robert. His name was Oscar. We were walking out of the SPCA, and I said, "There's no way this child's gonna be called Oscar." About it, we walk out with my friend of mine. He got him a dog too.
Right.
We're walking out. The next thing I said, Latte. The minute I said Latte, the tail started wagging, the ears went straight up. I said, "That's your name." And so that's how he got his name. And Myrtle, her name was Ariana. I said,
Ariana, like Ariana Grande.
Yes. I said, Robert, you got to pick this name this time. I said, you got to pick a name. And so Myrtle came I want to say a couple of days later. Robert, I think, took about 4 or 5 days maybe. Okay. And he said, it's got to be Myrtle. I said, why? He said, because she always stood, when we couldn't find her, she was behind the toilet, hiding behind the toilets. And evidently that was from I'm sure, see if somebody can figure that out in the chat.
One of the TV shows? Like
it's something from TV, from the movies.
Okay.
Harry Potter.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's where Myrtle came. He named her. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that's great. SPCA.
Okay. Want to get a little bit into your YouTube shows. I mean, most of the people in the chat obviously know about your YouTube shows. Why don't you share a little bit about your different shows and different things that you do?
When I first started, I was nervous and excited at the same time. I would watch Harry Tornado basically kind of guided me, and he was my mentor at the time. And so my first video was basically from one of the shows that he did. And then so I started November 28th, Thanksgiving date in 2019. And so when I first started, I really didn't know what I wanted to do. So I started doing videos. And then the more I would do videos, the more I was like, okay, I do know now that I want to do live shows. When I first started, there was not a lot of shows that would helping other channels. It was more about what they can get out of it for themselves. And so when I started doing lives in March of 2020, I did start with an evening show, 3 days a week. And then I started doing that as collaboration and networking, already automatically out the door. And then I started doing a Saturday show with Larry from LL Stash. And then that changed from when the morning show was able to come up. I did start doing bingos with Victoria and Larry. And then, of course, now it got to the point where I got the morning show because there was Anthony and Nate from Everyday I'm Hustling in Pittsburgh. They would do a morning show. And so when that time slot came up.
And also Craig Landshaw Picker.
Right. And then when that came up, I was able to go into that time slot.
Right.
And so that's when I became the morning show Coffee with Kajun, still being collaborating and networking, because my goal, even though I was starting at the afternoon shows, my goal was to always make sure I at least help a channel a day, if possible. If not more, that's even better. But my goal is always to promote and get someone else to the next level or milestone they want to make with their channel. So that's why I usually have a guest in the morning promoting their channel. When I got monetized on June 22nd, it took me a year, 6 months, and 3 days to get monetized. I said to myself, when I have that community page available, I will also start doing, which I do every week. Friday morning, I will put a new channel up to feature a channel for the week. Whether if they're under 1,000 or they're under 100, it doesn't matter. I will get a channel next week. On Friday comes out, they'll stay there till the following Friday, and then every day we promote that channel.
Right.
My goal is to have everybody help as much as I can, to where they can succeed and grow. I've had, and I'm only saying this because of what people have sent me kind messages and emails, that I know that I have accomplished things that I want to accomplish by helping others, because I want to make sure that if I can help one person a day, I've accomplished what I wanted for the day. And I do this today, plus the bingos on Monday. That started where we were doing it on Tuesdays. I found Mondays were better. We're getting anywhere from 50 to 60 people every Monday afternoon playing bingo. It's free.
A lot of people
have fun. Chatting, you just comment and cut up. We don't talk about anything about eBay. I'll let them drop their links at the end of the show.
Right.
But the whole show is about having fun. Nothing to do with eBay. Nothing to do with reselling. It's just all about bingo and having fun. And then you never know if you're going to win a box of moon pies. And then on Tuesdays, we started the Holla Dollar Money in Motion because it was asked in the chat. Someone else was doing a cha-ching-a-thon. That was Dom. And so I said I wanted to do something that was not exactly like it.
Right.
But try something different that everybody's asking me to do. So I did. And so Dawn and Victoria had helped started at the beginning with my co-host. Now it's Dawn and I. We just ended season 1 because I'm calling it season 1 because we're coming back with season 2. But season 2 will be with a big twist. And so everybody has to wait to hear what that twist is.
Stay tuned to find out what the twist is, right?
Continue waiting, exactly. And so we're doing that with season 2. And then I do the Hump Day auction every Wednesday. And that is also with co-hosts where I have Miss Debbie and Max, Miss Debbie from Debbie and Max Go Thrifting, Miss Nancy from Miss Ivy's Vintage Market, and also from Anthony from Pittsburgh. We basically are co-host. And then I host a show and they sell on that show. And then I also do occasionally a pop-up auction where it's just buy it now, come on in. Anybody who wants to come on can come on. I try to have everyone who comes on feel comfortable and at ease because I know when I first started how nervous I was. So when people do come on, I am basically just helping them and guiding them and keeping them feeling comfortable to where when they go live, they're not as nervous. So that's my goal mostly when I do that. And then, of course, Monday through Friday, morning show at 9 a.m. Eastern every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern.
Right. So if you want to get up early, you can catch the early morning show. Is that what starts at 7:30 and yours starts at 9 a.m. Eastern? Yeah.
Well, you have Larry at 6:30.
Larry's at 6:30 now. Wow.
Larry's at 6:30. Then you have Victoria at 7:30. Then I come on at 9.
Wow.
Yeah.
God bless. And you get a lot of your work done early in the morning, right before you even come online.
9 times out of 10, depending on how kind of a day I had before, I'm usually up by 3:30 with no alarm clock every morning. But depending on what I get done for the day, 9 times out of 10 lately, I'm getting up between 4 and 4:30. For me, that's late. But yeah, I finally get a lot.
Is that from the military? Is that how you developed that? Okay.
Yeah. When I was in the Navy. Yep.
Right.
It's just something about it. I don't no alarm clock.
That's good.
And 9 times out of 10, I'm usually in bed by 7:30ish because that's when I start winding down, watch TV, and then crash when I crash. So yeah. And I try to make sure I stay up for some channels here and there just to show support for other channels. Not every night, but I do try.
We're getting past Johnny's bedtime, guys. I always say your time is your most valuable asset. So I want to thank for Johnny for taking his time to share with us his tips and tricks and his knowledge about reselling. Appreciate it much. And guys, we always learn from other resellers. So again, keep that in mind on my show. I typically have another reseller on every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. In addition, if you get any kind of value out of this, I'm not monetized. I tell people buy me a coffee, Cash App, PayPal, etc. And I also started to do some Amazon affiliate links, things that I use in my reselling business. So again, guys, it doesn't cost you anything additional. You click on the link, you buy something, even those items, I get a small commission from Amazon. So that's something to consider, guys. So
one more thing that y'all didn't know yet, that some may not know. I also have a Cajun Roots cooking show.
That's right. You do. You do have another channel.
Yep.
But that's in your link tree. And I have most of Johnny's information. I have his YouTube, well, your normal YouTube channel, your Instagram, your Facebook, and your Twitter listed in the description below.
It's all in my link tree. Yes.
And if they click on your video or your about section, you have a link tree, and it'll have that channel as well.
I also have my cooking channel is my featured channel on the main page of my YouTube channel.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Appreciate you all being here. Appreciate the people watching the replay. And we shall catch you next Wednesday. Thanks for all being here, guys. Take care.
Love always.